All right, today we are jumping into a fantastic folktale. It's got everything: cunning, desperation, and a transformation that is just, well, you won't believe it. So let's get into it. The Jackal's Deceit and the Cobbler King. So right off the bat, you have to ask yourself, how on earth can a jackal make a poor cobbler a king? I mean, it sounds completely nuts, right? A wild animal just looking for a meal somehow masterminds a royal wedding for a guy who has literally nothing to his name. How does that even happen? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. Okay, so our story kicks off with two main characters, and they could not be more different. On one hand, you've got this poor, lonely cobbler who's just scraping by, and on the other, a very hungry jackal. And believe me, their paths are about to cross in a way that will change everything. So let's paint a picture here. You have this cobbler, right? He's all alone, probably doesn't have much to look forward to. He scrapes together enough to make himself a simple meal, a pot of khichdi. It's his one little comfort for the day. He cooks it up, leaves it to cool, and just pops out to make a delivery. Just a normal, boring day, you know? At least, that's what he thought. And then, in comes the jackal. It's not being malicious, it's just hungry. And it follows that amazing smell right into the cobbler's hut. And there it is, a warm pot of food just sitting there. For the jackal, this is a jackpot. But for the cobbler, oh, this is going to be the thing that pushes him over the edge. So when the cobbler gets back and sees this animal eating his one meal, he just loses it, completely snaps. He slams the door, traps the jackal, and just beats it all night long out of pure frustration and anger. And this moment, this act of desperation, is really where our whole story truly begins. Okay, so now the jackal is in a really, really bad spot. It's trapped, it's been beaten, and its only thought is survival. And to get out of this mess, it's gonna have to use its brain. This is the first time we see just how clever and tricky this jackal really is. And wow, this first trick is something else. Another jackal passes by, and you'd think our trapped jackal would just cry for help, right? Nope, it does the complete opposite. It tells this unbelievable lie, saying it's crying with joy because the cobbler feeds it delicious halwa puri every single day. The reality, it's getting beaten. But the other jackal, hearing about this feast, gets greedy. It agrees to switch places, frees our jackal, and walks right into a trap, getting the beating instead. Genius, but brutal. So the cobbler comes back, sees a different jackal, and is probably super confused. He's about to start the beating again, but our original Clever Jackal steps in and makes the most insane promise you've ever heard. He tells the cobbler, "If you free me, I will get you married to the king's daughter." I mean, can you imagine? The poor cobbler is just stunned. It's an impossible dream, but a tiny part of him wants to believe it. And just like that, he lets the jackal go. All right, now the real fun begins. The jackal is free, but it's made this wild promise. So it's time to put a plan into motion. A plan so crazy, so over the top, that it's just barely possible it could actually work. So what's the first step? The jackal heads over to a whole other kingdom. It walks right into the royal court, and get this, it starts talking like a person. It introduces itself as an emissary, which is basically a fancy diplomat or messenger sent from a super powerful king from far away. Let's break down this master plan because it's pretty brilliant. Step 1, get in the door by pretending to be an emissary. Step 2, propose a marriage between the princess and his prince, who is, the cobbler. Step 3, create a huge fake wedding procession to make it look like his king is loaded with cash. And step 4, the final twist. come up with a sob story for why that entire procession suddenly disappears. This part is my favorite because it shows how incredibly resourceful the jackal is. It has no money, no army, nothing. So how does it create the illusion of wealth? It gets creative. It takes a bunch of clothes from a local washerman and drapes them over bushes. From a distance, it looks like a massive camp full of colorful tents. Then it throws big bales of cotton into the river, which from far away looks like a huge group of people and animals. It's all a trick of the eye, a grand illusion. Okay, so the stage is set. The king has seen this massive procession from his palace. Now, the jackal puts on an Oscar-worthy performance. It runs to the king crying, totally distraught. It tells him this horrible story about a freak storm that came out of nowhere and washed everything away. The presents, the soldiers, the entire entourage. Everything is gone. The only survivor, it claims, is the noble prince himself, our Cobbler. And the king? He buys it, hook, line, and sinker. He feels so sorry for the prince and is still thinking about that huge procession he saw earlier. The lie works perfectly. And with that, the cobbler's world is about to be turned completely upside down. So let's just pause for a second and remember where we started. We had a guy who was so poor, so alone, that a bowl of khichdi was the highlight of his day. He had nothing, no money, no power, no future. And now, look at him. He's treated like royalty, he marries the princess, gets a palace, and even a say in how the kingdom is run. It's an absolutely unbelievable transformation from nothing to everything, all because of a promise made by a corner jackal. And what about the jackal, the mastermind behind all this? As soon as the wedding is done and the promise is kept, it's gone. It doesn't ask for a reward, it doesn't want a place in the palace, it just melts back into the forest, back to its own life. Its job here is done. So what's the point of this crazy story? I mean, beyond being a great tale, it actually has some pretty sharp things to say about human and animal nature. It's all about what desperation, greed, and a little bit of opportunity can do. Think about it. First, you see how desperation can spark some serious creativity. The jackal's whole plan came from just trying to not get beaten anymore. Then there's the idea that a good lie can be way more powerful than the truth, especially when you're telling people what they want to hear. The king wanted to believe in a rich prince, so he did. And of course, it's a huge lesson in how a single moment, a single crazy chance can completely change your life's direction. Which really leaves us with a big question to chew on, doesn't it? Who's the real hero of this story? Is it the cobbler, who gets everything but doesn't really do anything? Or is it the jackal? Yeah, it's a liar and a manipulator, but it's also incredibly smart, resourceful, and in the end, it actually kept its word. So, who are you rooting for? That's something to think about.